In this example, I'm going to demonstrate writing a value returning function. So this is a really simple program. You can see value 1 is 20, value 2 is 40, and I've declared a variable called total. Total is going to be value 1 plus value 2, and then I just display the sum of whatever value 1 and 2 are is total. So let me just run it quickly so you can see what it does. And there it is. Okay, so I want to write a value returning function. So let's say instead of just calculating the sum in an assignment statement, I want to write a function to actually do that for me. Okay, so I'm going to do this in a function instead. So I'm going to come down here, I'm going to write my function definition, and this is going to require 2 parameters. I'll call them value 1 and value 2. And all that I want this function to do is return value 1 plus value 2. Now, in the previous module, we saw a return statement that just returned out of a function. This one is going to return a value back. So it's like our void functions in that you have a function name, you have parameters that are being passed in from the main program. The difference is it's going to return a value back out. So in this case, it's going to add value 1 and value 2 and return that calculated value back out. When you write these types of value returning functions, the return type should not be void. The return type is going to be a C++ data type. That is the data type of whatever the return value is. If I add these 2 integers together, I'm returning an integer, so that's going to be my return type. So now I'm going to copy the heading, and I'm going to paste it up at the top of my program like I do for my void function. Same thing, right? So here now I have my function prototype, or it can also be called the declaration. And just like with other functions, I have to call the function. So here I'm assigning values into value 1 and 2. I'm declaring total. Here's where I wanted to jump out, execute my function. So the function call, we've seen this before, looks like this, right? But these are a little bit different. Value returning functions send a value back. So when it jumps out and executes this function, it's going to pass 20 into here, 40 into here. It's going to return 60. It's going to return a 60 back, and I need to do something with that 60. We wouldn't write a statement that looks like this because that's a statement that doesn't do anything. So what we need to do is we need to store that 60 that comes back. So I'm going to do that in an assignment statement. So here you can see this is a special function call for a value returning function. It's got to be part of another statement because you need to do something with the value that gets returned. So now what happens is it declares our variables. It executes the assignment statement. The right-hand side always gets executed first. It's going to jump out to the sum function. It's going to return 60 back and store it in total, and then it's going to display our results. So it should do the same thing as before. Okay, but I'm using a value returning function. You could also, I mean, this function is fine as written, but I could, if I wanted to, create a new variable. I'm just going to call it result, and result is assigned the value of value 1 plus value 2, and then I'm going to return result. So this will do exactly the same thing, right? It's just personal preference. The other thing to note is that our arguments here and our parameters don't have to have the same name. It's okay if they do, but they don't have to. So if I wanted to, I could use num1 and num2 throughout the function. So value 1 is 20, gets passed into num1, value 2 is 40, gets passed into num2, and then we go ahead and execute our function accordingly.